Gil Brandt was certainly a part of the great Cowboy teams of the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, including all those Super Bowl trips. Didn't win them all, but you were here many times. How has this game grown over the years?
Well, Bill, I was at the first Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and the first Super Bowl in Los Angeles, as an example, the media party now and the commissioners' party are a big thing. On Thursday before the game, they decided they were going to have a media party and a commissioners' party, and they went to the local Kinko, which I'm not sure was Kinko at the time, and had some flyers made up and said, party tomorrow night at the Sheraton West Hotel and so forth and so on. $6, $10, $12 worth of tickets. We probably didn't have as many media for the entire week as there are in this room today. If they had, I think they had like 15 credentials for photographers. So now they got 15 for one network.
In Super Bowl V, when the Cowboys made their first appearance, you were telling me a story about how casual that whole thing was.
Well, we stayed at a place called, I think, Pier 66, if I remember the name of the hotel, and it was a typical, in those days, 2- and 3-story motels, which were very prevalent, and a little swimming pool in the middle. And everybody kind of went out there in the afternoon and picked out who they wanted. Chuck Hawley's over there. Let's get Chuck Hawley to come on. Or if Chuck Hawley wasn't there and they wanted him, somebody go up to his room and get him. And there were maybe 15 writers out there, is what there were. I don't think there was any Radio Row from your own city. I don't think that whoever was doing our rights, I think it was KRLD at the time, I don't think they even had somebody down there during the week doing a radio show.
Fast forward to 2008 and the Cowboys of this year. How big a disappointment do you think they were?
Well, I think they were a big disappointment. They were to me, and I think they were to Jerry and everybody. They had a good football team. And, I was at training camp, and you kind of saw it already at training camp. There were a lot of distractions there. Football or business is a game where you can't have distractions if you're going to be successful. And I think when you have a lot of people running around, a lot of big stories, so to speak, I think that I guess they get you a lot of hype and a lot of publicity. Unfortunately, they don't get you a lot of W's.
How would Tom have handled distractions like that?
I don't think we'd had any distractions. The distractions would have never taken place. If you remember, Dwayne Thomas was Rookie of the Year and probably should have been the MVP in the Super Bowl, and he was a distraction the next year. He was gone. And Thomas Henderson, who was a great football player and turned out to be a really good person, was a distraction, and he was gone during the middle of the season. So I think sometimes if you set the bar and everybody knows where they stand and everybody's united, then the distractions end quickly.
Would one of those players ever, even in their wildest imagination, entertain the thought of going over the head of the coach to the owner?
Well, they could try it, but Tex wouldn't entertain it and Murkison wouldn't entertain it, and I think that's the way you have to be. As you know, everybody's looking for somebody to have sympathy with them, and if you can go to somebody within the organization and say, I need more money because of this or whatever it may be, that's not a good policy.
What's wrong with the Cowboys, in your opinion?
Well, I think they got good players, and I think Jerry spent the money to do it, and I think they've done things right. I think they just have to get everybody thinking as we instead of I.
One other question about a local young man who is from Robert E. Lee High School in Tyler, Oklahoma State, Brandon Pettigrew, the tight end. Where do you see him going in this year's draft?
I think he's a first-round pick. Tight ends, Bill, are not selected. I think over the past 10 years, we've had 1.3 tight ends drafted in the first round. And they seem to be a position that you're able to find in the second and third round and be pretty good. But he is a very, very good football player. And right now, I think he's a first-round pick.